the day I was not allowed inside. Emma Carter, a 32-year-old captain in the United States Army, had spent most of the last 3 years away from home. Her life was structured by duty, discipline, and distance. Germany, overseas deployments, and long missions had slowly turned home into something she only visited in rare moments. So when her older sister Lauren's wedding was announced, Emma made every possible effort to attend, no matter how tight her schedule or how exhausting the journey. Before leaving, Emma had already taken responsibility for most of the wedding expenses. Her father, John Carter, had told her that things were complicated financially and asked her to handle the payments temporarily. Trusting him, she signed contracts for the venue, catering, flowers, and photography. Everything was under her name, but she never questioned it deeply. In her mind, it was family, something she was supposed to support without hesitation. After a 16-hour flight, Emma finally arrived in North Carolina. She was tired but emotionally ready for what she believed would be a joyful family moment. She carried a carefully wrapped gift for her sister and drove directly to the wedding venue. The atmosphere outside looked beautiful, lights, decorations, and guests arriving with smiles. But the moment she stepped closer to the entrance, everything changed. Her father was standing there. He didn't smile. He didn't move forward. He simply stood in her way, like a barrier between her and the celebration. "Only family is allowed," he said calmly. Then after a pause, he added something even colder, "You weren't invited." Emma froze. At first, she thought she had misunderstood. After all, she had paid for much of this wedding. She had flown across the world to be here. She was his daughter. So she looked at him and said quietly, "I am your daughter." But John Carter didn't respond to that truth. Instead, he repeated himself with finality. "This is not the place for you. You should leave." From inside the venue, Emma could see the event she had helped fund. The same flowers she had approved, the same arrangements she had paid for, the same celebration she was now being excluded from. Guests passed by her without knowing what was happening, smiling, unaware of the quiet humiliation taking place at the entrance. For a moment, Emma said nothing. Years of discipline trained her not to react emotionally in public. She took a slow breath, nodded once, and gently placed the gift on the ground near the entrance. Without another word, she turned around and walked back toward her car. Every step felt heavier than the last, not because she was crying, but because something inside her was quietly breaking in a way she could not immediately name. She didn't argue. She didn't create a scene. She simply left, carrying silence instead of anger. The cost of being the responsible one. Emma returned to her hotel room that night and sat in silence for a long time. Everything around her felt unreal. She opened her laptop and began going through the emails she had ignored during the wedding preparations. One by one, the invoices appeared on the screen. Venue, $14,800. Catering, $12,600. Flowers, $6,200. Photography, $4,400. A total of $31,000, all under her name. She leaned back slowly, staring at the numbers. This was not just a financial responsibility anymore. It was a decision someone had placed on her without respect or inclusion. She had paid for a wedding she was not even allowed to attend. Later that night, her father called her. His voice carried frustration, not apology. He told her the vendors were asking for payment and reminded her that everything was her responsibility. Emma listened quietly, letting him finish. Then she replied calmly that she was not authorizing any payment for the event. There was a long silence on the line. Her father's tone changed immediately. He accused her of ruining her sister's wedding, of being selfish, of misunderstanding the situation. But Emma stayed calm. She finally said what she had not been able to say for years, that being family did not mean accepting disrespect or unfair treatment. If she was not considered part of the family when it mattered emotionally, then she would not be treated as financial support when it was convenient. That night, she contacted the vendors and informed them that all payments should be redirected to the event hosts. Then she canceled the card linked to those contracts. There was no anger in her actions anymore, only clarity. In the days that followed, messages came from her sister, confused and emotional. Her father remained distant and defensive. But something unexpected also happened. Silence brought understanding. Emma's aunt later reached out and told her simply that what had happened was not right. For the first time, Emma felt something she had not felt in years, not victory, not revenge, but peace. She realized that she had spent a long time trying to earn a place in a family that had already defined her role without her consent. She had not lost her family that day. She had only stopped losing herself. And that was the real turning point. Moral lesson. Sometimes the hardest truth is realizing that being the responsible one does not guarantee respect. Love without fairness becomes obligation, and obligation without dignity becomes emotional burden. True family is not just blood or titles, it is respect, inclusion, and justice in treatment. Reflection questions. Have you ever been expected to give more than you receive? At what point does loyalty become self-sacrifice? And when is it necessary to finally say no?